Hello everyone, my name is Garvin and I read things and prattle about them on the internet for your entertainment. Today, we're continuing our month-long look at some of the works of science fiction author Philip K. Dick by looking at the novelette Paycheck, which was chosen by my ever-wise patrons. You can join their ranks by clicking on the link below. A little as $1 a month gets you a vote on upcoming content. If you'd rather leave a one-time donation, there's also a Kofi link below. Now, Paycheck is an earlier work of Philip K. Dick, so you're not going to see the spiritualism or the unraveling of reality that you would see in his later works like A Scanner Darkly or Radio Free Albemuth that we just got done covering. That said, there are some themes and repeated story elements that show up here, and I would like to take a moment to look at them. For a more in-depth look at the story, I do have a written review of it. That's going to be linked in the description below as well. So, Paycheck, let's just sum this up real quickly, focuses on the character of Jennings, no first name given, who is a talented electrical engineer. So talented that the corporation Rethrick hired him for 2 years to work on their very specialized and proprietary technology. In the story, he was paid 50,000 credits, but if I translate that into today's money, it's closer to $500,000. The big catch is after he completes his contract, the corporation wipes his memory of everything after the day he signed the employment agreement. So the story starts with him waking up on a plane on the way to cash out after having completed 2 years and not remembering a damn thing about those 2 years. Worse, when he gets to the pay office, he finds out that he signed an agreement not to be paid in money, but in a bag full of trinkets. Those trinkets are a wire, half a poker chip, a ticket stub, a bus token, a strip of green cloth, and a receipt for a parcel left in a safety deposit box at a bank. If the day wasn't bad enough, he's going to have to figure out what he's supposed to do with these items quickly because, well, the cops are after him. You see, while he was gone, so to speak, the government fell and was replaced by a more repressive one, and the security forces would like to grab him and get him to share all the secrets of Rethrick, which I think you can see the problem for him here. So Jennings really quickly comes up with a plan. He'll use these trinkets that he believes are from his past self to figure out the secrets of the corporation and blackmail him to let him back in permanently, but not as an engineer this time, but as part owner. It's an ambitious and gutsy plan, and he goes about it decisively and with confidence in himself. I gotta give him that. Just like an adjustment team, and we can remember it for you wholesale, the movies based off of those were Adjustment Bureau and Total Recall, just so everyone's on the same page. Memory is a huge theme. Jennings considers himself separate from his past self to the point of referring to that past self in the third person, saying things like, he wouldn't have left me this clue for no reason. Which also ties to Mr. Dick's focus on identity, if we're going to be honest. As Paycheck invites us to ask, if you don't remember being that person, can you say that person was you? Jennings comes down on the side of, no, you can't, and considers the Jennings that worked for the corporation to be a separate person, but one who wants nothing but the best for him and one to be trusted absolutely. I'm going to invite you, my dear viewers, to comment below if you think you could trust yourself like that, and be honest. There's also the reoccurring theme of a dystopian security state running the US with vast police overreach. We see that in Minority Report, Scanner Darkly, Radio Free Albemuth, and I would argue we see that in Blade Runner, and we can remember it for Yahosel as well. These stories run a spectrum of the main character either working against the state, for the state, supporting the state wholeheartedly, or just trying to survive it, and more. It does seem that Mr. Dick, even as a young man, was profoundly skeptical of police power and the government in general. Even in works where the government is presented in a better light, like Second Variety, it's still the mistakes of that distant government that cause pain and misery to the main character. Mr. Dick did not seem to believe in benevolent government, no matter the ideology of that government, but he did seem to lean towards benevolent higher powers towards the end of his life. His police states also tend to have vast surveillance powers, which, to be fair, seems to hold true of real police states. For example, a scanner darkly had the police listening to just about every phone conversation made in the United States, with the idea of individual privacy being well and truly dead in most of Mr. Dick's future writings. I have to admit, in today's current state, I can only say he was likely onto something, as the fight for privacy is an increasingly difficult one, not just from the government, but from corporations, advertisers, and even other private actors. It's often sold to us as a convenience to give up our privacy. Some of you are likely declaring that you won't fall for it, but won't you? How many of you have Alexa or Siri in your house? How many of you have Facebook Messenger installed on your phone or use Facebook and other social media? I'm not going to claim I'm any better here, folks. I'm literally posting myself on YouTube after all. But this is something to think about, isn't it? I think it's themes and elements like this which give Mr. Dick's work its longevity. Well-written science fiction not only entertains you, but gives you something to think about. And by putting these questions in a different setting or world, it helps you think about it without the reflective defensiveness that can set in during a political conversation or in a story set in the real world. I think we could all use that, especially these days, given how explosive the divides between everyone are. The stories try and grapple with these questions without bringing in our pre-existing conceptions or loyalties and get us to address them from a fresh point of view. That's something that Philip K. Dick was honestly rather good at, and that's something we really need to help us deal with these questions and maybe even arrive at answers. Who can say? I think this is the best stopping point for this discussion, as I don't want to dictate anything to you here, my dear viewers. I just want you to think about this. I hope you found this informative, or at least entertaining. If so, please leave a like or a comment, or consider subscribing. All of those help me in my eternal struggle against the dread Lord Algorithm. Terror be on his name. Thank you for watching, and special thanks to Big Steve, my biggest supporter. Next week, I'm looking at the film Paycheck, starring Ben Affleck and Uma Thurman. I hope you'll join me, and until then, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and of course, keep reading.